K98 Talk is expanding its lineup for 2015. This means we are expanding our advertising base. Whether you're a startup trying to push through to the next level or an established business trying to supplement your advertising budget, web-based advertising is a solid investment. Thanks to Talk's newest partnership with TuneIn Radio and instant access to our sister station, K98 FM, we give you worldwide access at a reasonable cost. Interested parties should email us at sales@k98fm.com.
In these uncertain economic times, you've got to do whatever you can to save money. One of our biggest expenses can be our cars, especially when unexpected repair bills hit. Not anymore. If you own a vehicle with less than 130,000 miles, is less than 12 years old, has a warranty about to expire, or even no warranty at all, you could stop paying for car repairs. Roadside assistance, towing, and rental coverage are all included. Don't wait for the next repair. Make one free call right now to see if you qualify. If your vehicle is less than 12 years old, has less than 130,000 miles, even if it's out of warranty, paying for car repairs can become a thing of the past. Call us right now and get your car protected before your next repair bill hits. Get protection and no more repair bills. Call 800-696-1030. Again, 800-696-1030. That's 800-696-1030. 800-696-1030.
Joe had huge problems with the IRS.
I knew it was coming. I hadn't filed taxes since 1990.
All the IRS letters coming in added up to a nightmare.
It got up to like $68,000. My heart started beating fast. It's like, there's no way, man. I mean, I ain't going to be able to do this.
Then they stopped his paycheck.
So that's when I started making phone calls and found U.S. Tax Shield.
U.S. Tax Shield went to work immediately.
They just took the bull by the horns. What blew my mind is he called the IRS right then and there.
So why is U.S. Tax Shield A+ rated with the Better Business Bureau? Joe knows.
They saved me a ridiculous amount of money.
If you owe more than $10,000 to the IRS or state, choose the company Joe chose, U.S. Tax Shield.
It was the best decision I made. U.S. Tax Shield is the way to go. Life is good. Thank you, Lord.
Call 800-471-3287.
U.S. Tax Shield. Boo-rah. Yes.
800-471-3287. 800-471-3287.
Game on, where progressives fear us and rhinos tremble. Welcome to the political jungle. I'm JD.
This is Stacey. No one is safe. No one is spared.
Lock up the children.
And the old folk.
Welcome to the world of liberservative conservatarians.
Edith there. That was a summer vacation we took last week there to Cleveland. I got to tell the audience here, I think the only mistake we made was bringing Jefferson. They thought he was a Black Lives Matter protester. I think he's still in jail. Good Sunday morning, July 21st. What the hell today, July 24th, 2016, 11 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. JD and Stacey here for Game On that Conservative Commandos radio network here on that K98 Talk. Welcome back to all our political geeks, freaks, and back alley sneaks. Hey, everybody within the sound of my voice right now. That's right, the voice you haven't heard live in a while, baby. You know exactly what to do. You get over to K98Talk.org. You get in that chat room. You say hello to Stacey. You tell us, Ron, keep your pants off. Oy vey schmear. Up in the early morning is listen smartest, putting who's in their coffee radio listening audience in the business, baby. JD and Stacey, your Aussie cut. Up, here we go. Here we go. It might be moving slow, kids, but you know it's moving. We back. We here to tell you about Cleveland. It was hot, baby. Some protesters, lots of great law enforcement. There was a little bit of politics, a little bit of palace intrigue, but that's not why you're here, baby. You're here for JD and Stacey. So tighten up your drink, tighten up your stink, tighten up whatever helps make you think, and buckle up. Today, kids, we're going to be speaking about our week over in Cleveland. That's right, at the RNC and that CLE, baby. We're going to be talking about the floor. We're going to be talking about the ceiling. We're going to be talking about everything in between. We're going to be talking about the politics, the speeches, the palace intrigue, the knife fights, the throat cutting. What's going to be going on in there at Philadelphia next week, baby? That city of bodily harm with Cankles and the rest of the idiots. Oh, that's right. There's a guy named Tim Kaine. He ain't that moderate, baby. Remember, guys, we're here to take you all the way home. And not so much lately, but remember, folks, we're not just here Sunday morning, 11 a.m., curing your mainstream media hangover. Stacey and I are live again Tuesday, Thursday nights, 9 p.m. Eastern Time for another edition of Game On here on K98 Talk. Friday, 5 p.m., we are the 5 p.m. leading on that WNWNWN, JC 1360 a.m., covering that Philadelphia, Southern Jersey, Northern Delaware, baby. For those of you, we're going to get a link up. JD did an interview with 1360 on Friday, coming back from that Cleveland, baby, over about the convention. After the show, Hoople's not doing it. You get over to Spreaker.com, hash Brown, JD and Stacey, JDANDSTACEY. Find out a catalog of everything we've been doing here with that Ricky Ticky Tavi Rick Robinson and that K98 Talk. And remember, Hooples, after the show, 10 weird friends having some kind of orgy at your house, baby. But you get over to Facebook. You like that page. You get 10 friends. You get them to like it, too. Welcome back to Some Kind of Radio, Mama.
Some kind of radio.
I think that's the new name.
It was a long week.
Oh, my good Lord, it was long.
Okay, terrific.
Hold on a second. Let me reset the audio bubble. It was a long week. It was a historic week. It was interesting, though. I have to say that much. Would you agree with me that it was interesting? It was definitely a part of history.
It was definitely a part of history. To me, it was very interesting from a psychology, sociology sort of perspective.
But do what now?
I mean, watching the dynamic was a lot more interesting to me, and how that sort of relates to the politics.
I will tell you something, though. I went back and Stacey and I, to give you a little flavor of what went down, right? So Stacey was in town a day early to be ready to pick up our media credentials for the Secret Service. That's right, baby. Pass that background check. Oh, it's like, that's like passing your AIDS test. You're like, I don't have AIDS. Woohoo! Lordy low.
It's not quite like that, but okay.
That's right. Passing your Secret Service background check is like finding out you passed your AIDS test. When I get my AIDS test, you got a 65. That means I passed.
God.
Chris Rock. Hold on, I'll give it to myself. I will get into it in a little bit. I think the California delegation may need some kind of AIDS test or something.
Oh, my God, no.
Lord.
Novovirus. Nobody wanted to go near California for any number of reasons. But
Norovirus,
for good
one. God's sake, you are a nurse. You know what a novavirus is, you freak? A novavirus is when a car guy gets bit by the bug and just wants Chevy Novas. Norovirus, sorry. Good Lord. I'm going to tell you something. See?
You're the one that got the text from the doctor, not me.
I have to explain this to the audience. That was pretty funny. I have to explain this to the audience. For those of you who have not met JD, this is what happened. So the reason that Stacey is just trying to get her footing here is we just spent a week together in Cleveland. And one of the things that it is impossible to escape is the aura of JD awesomeness. And sometimes it hits the receptors and it kind of shuts people down and they have to read.
Are you serious?
No. Oh, that made me laugh, though.
Let's not go back and have another Tuesday, okay?
Oh! You know what? If there's time in segment 3, we'll talk about Tuesday. All right, so we passed our Secret Service background check. We got credentials. We both passed our AIDS test. Is that where we are right now?
That's basically where we are. And so we go to the convention, and we were expecting, like, fires and riots and all these Black Panthers open carrying and a complete just crazy town kind of atmosphere, and it didn't happen. The only crazy town was inside the queue.
Oh my God, completely. And I actually, Stacey and I would both like to do Where is the? It's been so long since I've been live. I couldn't even find a good. Where's the white women, Matt? Well, you were.
Oh my God!
We really both like to thank sincerely the city of Cleveland. I had never been to Cleveland. Stacey had never been to Cleveland, and yeah, I know. LeBron just went there. Yeah, but LeBron just went there. Won a championship, Katie. Yeah, well, listen, Bob, shut up. It's still the mistake by the lake. However, I will say the only bad thing I have to say about Cleveland is that at least last week it was 7,937.5 degrees, and that was in the shade. But they honestly, it is the most open, warm city I almost have ever traveled to, at least in this country. Everywhere that we went, Uber drivers, staff in restaurants, people on the street. We were having dinner Thursday night, and a guy, I don't know if that was either his, 12-year-old mistress or his daughter, but the guy that was at the table next to us who turned around, everybody wanted to know the same thing. They wanted to know how their city and how their fellow residents were treating people who had come in for the convention. You've done a bit more traveling than I have. I've never really had an experience like that.
No, I mean, it was definitely a very friendly city. Again, from the Uber drivers. I mean, we just had the best Uber drivers in the world.
We did.
To the folks in the restaurant being.
Oh, wait! Before you do that, apologies to the young man who was the Uber driver in the white Dodge Avenger on Tuesday night, July 19th.
Yeah, because Tuesday we're just going to forget about.
If you're listening to the show, we're all better and have made up now.
Yeah. Tuesday was a really quiet day.
I will tell you what, though. It was quite a loud and raucous evening, though.
Yes, that would be true.
So, all right. So, hold on a second. So, let me describe the majority of Tuesday with Stacey and I.
Put the lotion in the basket.
And now let me describe from about 9:30 on. Don't do this. Come on. Hook it up. Oh, here we go. All right.
Hot air. So hot and hurt.
I'm not getting that at all.
No, not like that. I'm saying it was a party atmosphere. It's the only party song I had on here. What do you want from me?
I was thinking party like it's 1999.
But I don't have a how's this? It was this kind of party.
There you go.
Stacey and I actually threw a get
We're
off.
We're lucky we didn't get kicked out of the house.
We threw a get off at some train party. So yeah. So I know everybody here. I have a bunch of pictures and video that I still have to get out to everybody. So for those of you who are familiar with Cleveland, and for those of you who are not, let's paint a physical picture for them. You have the Q, which is the Quicken Loans Arena. And what would you say, Stacey, the furthest offset was, at least for us coming in? That.
I'd say to the front.
About a half mile.
The 9-foot fencing was, I'd say, a quarter mile, and then the concrete barricades were a half a mile away.
Yeah, but I would say, I think it's fair to say, even though 4th Street was open, to me that whole perimeter started at about.
Oh yeah, the
4th
concrete
Street.
Barricades were in the middle of 4th Street.
Right, so that would be what? They were perimetered for what? About a half a mile around the queue.
A half a mile in front of the queue. It went even more than that wide, though, because it included other buildings where press and other people were at. And so, when you looked at the physical encampment around this, the security was so phenomenal that we couldn't figure out how to get out.
No. And I'll tell you what, they were nice. The flow of everything was nice. And, it's with this particular event, Stacey and I have been blessed the last year and a half to be credentialed media. And, in our first couple conferences, you roll around and you get a footing and you get a sense, and then you start to feel comfortable, and you're like, hey, I know this. I got this game. This was the Super Bowl of being media credentialed. There was a area where, because we were lucky enough to have floor passes, and the way that the floor passes worked is that there was a Secret Service media center off the floor where you had to come in, you had your barcode, they checked it out, make sure you were approved, and they would give you a floor pass, and depending on how crowded the floor was, they would give you a specific set amount of time. But the most incredible thing to me, because you're in line with the guy from Vanity Fair doing a documentary, and then 4 up from him is Andrea Mitchell, or her producer getting Andrea's pass, or Don Lemon sitting there looking more like a talking testicle with eyes since he shaved his head.
Oh, my God, he's scrawny.
He's creepy.
Scrawny and creepy, yeah.
So you get your
Not
pass.
as creepy as Paul Manafort, though.
And this, oh my God, we saw the devil himself. We saw.
Oh my God, there was like an aura around him.
Ew. The ashes from the pits of hell dropped off.
Oh my God.
But one of the most incredible things is whether you were JD and Stacey or you were Andrea Mitchell. Here you go. You have 45 minutes on the floor this go around, and you can come back and do it again. And I don't know how many times I stopped.
Very egalitarian, I would say.
Yeah, I don't know how many times I stopped and looked at somebody, and they're like, "Who are you with?" And I'm like, "I am the guy that definitely should not be down here." Oh, and I have got to. Let me give everybody a little peek at. Let me give everybody a little man behind the curtain peek. So you literally have all the media on the planet there. So the night of Cruz's speech. This is Wednesday night, right? So Stacey and I, we get ourselves on the floor. We're there for the end of Walker, beginning, and the whole Cruz speech. And I look over to my right, and about 4 feet away from me is Torre. And I'm like, he got canned from MSNBC. Who's he with now? And I look over, he's got a CNN badge. And I'm watching him, and, the floor's going, and everybody's wearing a funny hat, and, yeah, we want Trump, we want Trump. And Torre is sitting there making mean black man face. And I look over and I see his cameraman. The camera light's on, and the camera light goes off, and Torre looks normal. Then he walks up to a guy who looks like, super conservative. He's standing behind him making like mean black man face, and I see the camera go on. I reach out and I go, "Hey, man." He's like, "Yeah." And I'm like, "Are you like making funny black man face to like cut a funny segment on CNN?" And he started dying laughing. I mean, one of the things, a really nice look behind the curtain. I mean, 2 of the funniest exchanges and interactions I had while I was there were with Torre and Chris Hayes of MSNBC, who I ran up to ask him about the weed story with him and his wife.
Well, I actually had my fangirl moment meeting Kennedy. Woohoo!
Oh, that was cool.
That was cool. And then Matt Kibbe, a lot of you may not know him. He's with Conservative Review, has an organization called Free the People, and does some of the best liberty-minded videos I've ever seen. So, total fangirl.
On Radio Row, when she saw Matt Kibbe, she literally ran into the aisle. She knocked over a CNN crew.
Stop it.
She broke Rob Eno's microphone on the way to tackle Kibbe.
Stop it. I did not tackle him. I shook his hand.
Mr. Kibbe, you're so smart.
The only person I could meet and actually have a conversation with that would make me happier than that is Justin Amash.
Mm-hmm. But speaking of that,
But he didn't go.
We got to. You have to understand.
Like half of the Republican Party, he was absent.
You have to Chris Hayes is Harry Potter. That's funny. I was just looking over the chat room. You have to understand the atmosphere and the access that we had. We were coming off the floor, and there was no percentage in us. It really wasn't breaking news. You could find it out yourself. I mean, we've actually talked about it at some point. But one of the most incredible seminal moments we had is as we were coming off the floor, I see Utah Senator Mike Lee. And because where we were, we're kind of going out of like a media access area. And you got, the principals that are out on the floor. You have the Trump family. You have the congressmen, the senators. And Mike Lee was with one aide, and he was having a quiet phone call up against the wall. And as we walked past him, I grabbed Stacey because I heard he was talking about something. And whoever he was talking about, he said, "Look," he said, "no." He said, "I'm telling you right now, the next opportunity we have to do anything about the rules or to make a change in the Rules Committee is 2020. And I found that to be, it was just one of those things where, you see these people, they lead a national movement, they're on the charge, and you pass them at a moment, where they're giving the word from, hey, I'm the one that's telling you there's not much we can do here. We're going to have to pay some bills for the first time in a while. How's your co-host chair feeling? Mine's feeling a little more comfortable than it was 20 minutes ago.
Yeah, I'm all right now.
You're all right now? Well, good.
I'm all right now.
So everybody right now, you go over, you tighten up that drink, you tighten up that stink, you tighten up whatever helps make you think. But you know who is back? Not just JD and Stacey, it's Diamond Dave, baby. Gonna take us to break. JD and Stacey here on Game On that K98 Talk. We are part of that Conservative Commandos Radio Network, and we're gonna be back in 3:15.
One break coming up.
This is Slickery Trigger for Rebel Road Tactical. With proper care and feeding, your pistol will be ready when you need it. There to save your life. Shouldn't your gear be that good? Whether you need a holster for comfortable everyday carry or a tough-as-nails holster for your next training course, Rebel Road Tactical has what you need. Check us out on the web at rebelroadtactical.com.
If you like your health care plan, you'll be able to keep your health care plan. This is the most transparent administration in history. Not even a smidgen of corruption.
Fact is, we had 4 dead Americans. What difference at this point does it make?
If you got a business, you didn't build that.
The feeling most people get when they hear Barack Obama's speech, I felt this thrill going up my leg. I mean, I don't have that too often.
Steady.
It's time to hear the truth about America's biggest challenges. Ricky Robinson, host of America Off the Rails, will tackle the important issues facing America today as he tries to keep America from coming off the track. Get ready to hear the truth every Monday through Friday starting at 7 p.m. Eastern, 6 Central, here on K98Talk.com and the Spark Radio Network.
Welcome to the face. Welcome to the face of the new democracy.
Are you conservative in a world of liberal?
Yep.
Mm-hmm. Well, you're not alone. Hey, I'm Daniel Stafford, host of the Stafford Voice, and I'd like to invite you to tune in each Monday, 10 p.m. Eastern, where I'll break down the events of the week, and together we'll learn about how they affect you. So, sit back and get ready for the good, the bad, and the ugly of talk radio right here on K98 Talk.
From the Vikings of Norway to my home down south to Washington, D.C., I've been around. I've seen it all, and I've come out on top. You better beware, for all you know, the bell tolls for you. Enter the bell tower or watch your step. 8 p.m. Thursdays, K98 Talk.
Welcome back, truckers, suckers, and bad mother. JD and Stacey here. Game on K98 Talk. Stacey and I are part of that Conservative Commandos Radio Network. Welcome back, everybody. 18 to 80, blind, crippled, and crazy. You are hearing my very morning voice on a Sunday morning, so you know exactly what to do. You too, Trumpkins. I didn't forget about you. Hand off Speckle ear on radio. Hand off Speckle ear on radio. Take 2 steps into a bus. Everybody right now, get over to K98Talk.org. Get in that chat room. Say hello to Stacey. Join the conversation. Ron's pants never go on, so get over it. Oy vey schmear. Remember, guys, we're not just here live Sunday morning, 11 a.m. We do it again Tuesday, Thursday, 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Here on that K98 Talk, Friday, 5 p.m. We are that drive time leader on that WNWNWN, JC 1360 a.m., serving that Philadelphia, Southern Jersey, Northern Delaware, baby. After the show, Hooples, get over to our Facebook page. You like that? You get 10 friends, you get them to like it too. And then after that, Hooples still will live again Thursday night at 9 p.m. Eastern. Here for Game On. You get over to Spreaker.com, #Brown, JD and Stacey, JDADSTACEY. You find out a catalog of everything we've been doing here with that Ricky Ticky Toppy, Rick Robinson, and that K98 Talk. And before our page gets up, Hooples, you get over to theloftusparty.com. You check out that Michael Loftus. You check out that Flipside show. You check out where Stacey and I pop up on there. And we're popping and we're checking and we're welcome back, baby.
Oh, my God. I am dying right now.
Why?
Because I'll go through like the major news feeds while we're on air on commercial break.
Oh, what happened?
Debbie Wasserman Schultz will not have a major speaking role at the DNC in an effort to keep the peace in the party. After nearly 20,000 emails sent and received by DNC staff members were released Friday by WikiLeaks, and I've seen some of them, and they are awful.
Let me just say about the detestable young man that runs the DNC, Debbie Wasserman Schultz. No, she's a woman. Yeah, good luck proving that, Bob. Before we get back to Cleveland, okay? Debbie Wasserman Schultz, yeah.
Oh, this is great.
It's one of the most. You know what? Let's save this disgrace for three.
Can I just read one more sentence?
Sure.
The DNC Rules Committee on Saturday rescinded Wasserman Schultz's position as a convention chairwoman, instead naming Representative Marcia Fudge.
Oh my God! Breaking news. Exclusive K98 Talk audio from inside the DMC the day before their convention. I'm sorry, Debbie Wasserman Schultz. We can't have you do this. Is Marcia Fudge
convention bounced her?
Is Marcia Fudge black?
Oh, you need to stop.
No,
I have no idea.
The Democratic Party. Okay. Let's tie this in and go back to Cleveland. All right.
She's been quarantined. They said.
What is? You know why? You know why? How did we start the show? More breaking news. Hold on a second. This is the second big name we're going to break this on. From the K98 Talk News, there's breaking news right now. Not only does Bill Clinton have AIDS, but evidently Debbie Wasserman Schultz does too. She is quarantined like from the movie Outbreak. More to follow and developing.
Oh, my God.
Oh, my God.
They have removed her from the convention.
They removed her from the convention. Screw her. She's awful. There's a bigger story behind that, though. There's a much bigger story.
Well, no, it has to do with all the stuff that came out in that DNC hack. I mean, her emails are awful.
She is the DNC hack. But let's circle back to the. Wait a minute. You just called me out on something that I'm going to have to live down. The reason why I asked if Marcia Fudge was black, because the biggest star, by far, hands down, at the convention in Cleveland were the law enforcement that were there from literally, it seemed like, almost all 50 states. They had
they were like rock stars.
They had the most unbelievable presence, but it wasn't fascist. It didn't look like Cleveland was militarized. They were just there. They were completely professional. Everywhere you went, people were thanking every individual cop for the week, taking pictures with them like they were rock stars. Now, on Donald Trump's keynote speech on Thursday night, there was a powerful part of it. This came at around 3:47 in the morning. I think the speech ended at about 5:30, 6 o'clock. Jesus,
that's how it felt.
He brought up what I thought was very powerful. 4 specific families who had family members here in the States murdered by illegal aliens. That's right! Illegal aliens, not undocumented workers, not dreamers, illegal aliens. Not from Mars, from Mexico. So if you want to make it easier, illegal immigrants. People that shouldn't have been here. The worst part was a good deal of these 4, if not all 4, these people have been refused to have been dealt with by liberal cities under the sanctuary law. And I thought that was a very powerful part of his speech, because you are nothing but an ideologue if you don't listen to somebody speaking about the families of 4 dead Americans who were killed because our immigration system is broken. So anybody that couldn't have had some emotion to that is just crazy. Now, I want to juxtapose as to what's being offered in Philadelphia this coming week. The Democrat Party, the one thing I don't know yet if they're putting them up in primetime or not, are taking 6 families.
Well, it's always on C-SPAN.
Are taking 6 families. No, but I don't know whether they're focusing the 6 families in primetime or not. They are taking 6 families whose family members, and they're all black, who were killed by police officers. And they're going to drive the narrative in Philadelphia with all the movements they're ready to explode. Their narrative next week is that these 6 family members had their family members systemically hunted down and murdered by the police. By the police for votes. For votes. Listen, you can say what you want about Donald Trump. Stacey and I were all there for the speeches. I want to touch on the Cruz speech before the end of the segment because we came away with different takes from it, but pretty much thought everybody looked bad. You can say what you want about Donald Trump. There was a lot of pandering in that convention hall. Both Ivanka's speech and his felt more like it should have been in a hall in Philadelphia. They were pandering for votes from left-leaning independents, from disaffected
and straight up from disaffected Bernie supporters
and disaffected Democrats. And as much as that doesn't play to our sensibilities or our ideology, it's politics, and I understand it. What I think is very different, and disagree with me if you and correct me if you disagree, I think the Democrat Party is doing it quite differently. Because they are willing to take gasoline and matches to the tinderbox this country has become under Obama, or even over the past 2 decades, to pander for votes by trying to inflame racial tensions. Yeah, but Donald Trump is the wall and built the wall and Mexicans. I hear you, Bob. That's a little more nationalist to my mind than literally trying to roll a hand grenade into a disaffected and angry community and tell them, hey, all the white people and cops in the country are coming to croak you out for votes. For votes. And that's how I see differently as disaffected I am with the Republican Party. I think that is a very big difference.
Well, I think it's a big difference, but I think also when you take a look at it, the Democratic Party has been dragged so far left by Bernie's candidacy and the progressive base that I guess after some reflection, I am not surprised to have seen the Republican convention be much further left than I am at all comfortable. You know, when I look at it and I listen to what's going on both the right and the left at this point, it's government is the answer. You know, I think Ronald Reagan was the last president we had that actually made big government a punchline. You know, I'm from the government, I'm here to help, said in a very sarcastic tone. Mm-hmm. You know, every solution that was offered in that Republican convention was a big government solution. The party of limited government is dead, and I think part of the reason is the Democrats have been dragged so far left, and at this point, what they're really doing is showmanship for that progressive base.
See, I have a little different take on it, you know, and you and I were both there for the speech. We heard, you know, we had the same takes on it. Donald Trump, to my mind, strikes me very, very, very much so. I don't see him as a new anomaly that has just burst on the scene. What I see him is he's a remnant and a relic of the past that we haven't seen in the Republican Party, at least this far up in it. In, I don't know, maybe 30 or 40 years. And that's what used to be referred to as a Rockefeller Republican.
He quoted Nixon.
No, I understand that. You want to know something, though? Honestly, if you take a look at it, you know, Nixon was a very liberal Republican president. He created several cabinet positions that didn't exist. So, I mean, that makes sense to me. But, again, that comes back from Nixon was somewhat he had some tendencies of the Rockefeller Republican. But, you know, Trump, to me, and in his speech, seemed like the phoenix rising from the ashes of the dead Rockefeller Republicans. And I will tell you something, at least politically, I think their team is getting better because they did drive that message. And the way they set that message up, the entire convention, to my mind, and that Pastor Burns, oh, my goodness. He should run for president. The guy from South Carolina that was going nuts and sweating in the speech.
Yeah, we liked us some Pastor Burns. I'd vote for him. I won't vote for Trump.
But I did think that the speeches were very focused on Hillary. I liked that. You know, it was a week of Hillary bashing. And I think I may not agree with the message, and I might not be inclined to support it, but I think politically the Trump campaign has begun to learn how to drive a political message. And the reason that I say that is that when Ivanka spoke, would you agree with me that that is where the feeling in the room, you know, took the most left turn, you know, where it was a bunch of SJW language and childcare and things like that?
Well, that and when Trump started talking about college tuition and stuff like that.
That's my point. Is that I think. That
I mean, it was a hard left. It wasn't even a little left.
Well, I think their messaging has gotten better because it actually had a plan to it. Ivanka went up there and set the groundwork for where her father was going to go. And what I think everybody has to get themselves over, one of the things Stacey and I came away with, it's the same thing that we've been saying for months. You know, there wasn't, at least by Donald Trump and the campaign, much, if any, talk about the Constitution. There was not much, if any, talk about limited government. That is not what you're going to get out of this Republican candidate. It's not that he necessarily believes in big government. The one thing I will give Trump, Trump is kind of like a 50-50 of what you'd expect out of a Republican. I do believe that the one thing that he is serious about and chaps his rear end is the waste in government. And again, I've been the one that said Trump isn't so much a businessman as a real estate mogul, but I could see him attacking excessive waste, fraud, and abuse. The difference is that is not going to necessarily be towards the goal of a smaller government, because if you listen to what he wanted to do, and again, we're not going to know till this election is over and if he gets elected how he would govern, but he's a different kind of Republican and a Rockefeller Republican in the sense that he wants to pull the levers of government that exist if he gets into office to do the things that he feels are right. And I think that goes back to the point that a lot of us have been making that, hey, even if you did that to produce results we'd be inclined to support, it's, you know, in the vein of extra constitutionalism, and you're honestly just becoming Obama with an R in front of his name.
Well, when he starts talking about pulling levers and micromanaging business decisions in terms of where they manufacture, where they sell, and how they're going to operate their assets, that's pure Bernie Sanders. When he starts talking about money in politics, that is pure Bernie Sanders. I mean, when you actually listen to the language of his speech, there is a fair amount of collectivism in it. Okay, we're talking about federal child care programs. I mean, basically, from my perspective, and I think I told you this when we walked out, he just basically took the 10th Amendment and wiped his rear end with it, because everything he proposed in that speech was a federal government solution. Now, I totally believe his military ideas are a federal responsibility. Immigration, completely a federal responsibility. Almost everything else he talked about, not a federal responsibility at all.
But again, you know, we had this long conversation, you know, that the last night of the convention when we came back home. He's not speaking to people who that is a concern for. You know, this is look, we saw it at the convention. We thought this was what it was going to be, and at the convention, he codified it for us, you know. Mm-hmm. And you'll have all the Trumpkins running around going, yeah, but he's making a bigger tent. Look. He's looking for votes. He's not looking to do anything with the Republican Party. And if you take a look at the fact that as recently as 8 or 10 years ago, he was considering running as a Democrat, he has no fealty to the party. The party's going to be used as a vehicle to get him elected. And if he does, I think he's going to try and leave as much of an imprimatur of himself as he can on it. All right, baby, we coming up to our second break. Going to come back into that last segment, take everybody into the noon o'clock hour here with JD and Stacey, part of that Conservative Commandos Radio Network with Game On here on that K98 Talk. When we come back, let's talk Cruz, how we saw it, and predictions for next week. Does that work for you, lady?
Okie dokie.
JD and Stacey getting their sea legs back, but we ain't gotten sick yet, baby. We're going to be back in about 3:30.
everybody, this is Jason, host of According to Me. I'd like to invite you to check out my show. It's a 2-hour show that lasts 60 minutes and...
listen, I hate to interrupt, but one thing I can do is read off a script. Just say, let me be clear a lot. It works.
President Obama, I can't handle this. It's a radio promo. I'm not green. I've done this before.
Did someone say green?
Now, Al Gore is here. Listen, I'm just trying to record a radio promo. Do you mind?
Now, do you say good things about me on the show?
No, not at all. But if it makes you feel any better, I rip on Republicans just as much.
The AM radio frequencies give off very high levels of radiation.
Look, my show is on the internet, which you invented. Can I just do my promo?
I got a pen. I can veto that, you know.
I know you got a pen. It's not a law. It's a radio promo. Listen, just listen to my show. Barack Obama and Al Gore hate it, so you're going to love it.
Here's an executive order. Don't listen to his show. He doesn't like me. He's racist. And he doesn't recycle either.
That's it. I'm done. It's According to Me, Wednesdays, 10 p.m. Eastern, right here on K98 Talk.
I'm easy like Sunday morning.
Wondering why you're up early with us on a Sunday morning making a cocktail? News lately got you drinking? Hung over from the mainstream media by Sunday? We are, and we got you covered.
We sure do. We got your hangover cure for those weekly news blues. So sit back, top off your mimosa, and add some Baileys to that coffee.
Take a match to your copy of the New York Times. Light, funny, and oh yeah, news with booze.
And a lot of laughter.
Welcome to Bloody Marys and Broadsheets. If it's Sunday, it's Bloody Marys and Broadsheets.
We're your cure from your weekly news hangover.
We will never fully understand what we've asked of our military service members or their families, asking them to put themselves in harm's way, to endure it all. But we do understand that it's our turn, our duty, to keep them secure for the rest of their lives. Wounded Warrior Project long-term support programs help our most severely ill or injured veterans live independently, at no cost, for life, so that they might stand at ease. Join us at findwwp.org.
K98 Talk is expanding its lineup for 2015. This means we are expanding our advertising base. Whether you're a startup trying to push through to the next level or an established business trying to supplement your advertising budget, web-based advertising is a solid investment. Thanks to Talk's newest partnership with TuneIn Radio and instant access to our sister station, K98 FM, we give you worldwide access at a reasonable cost. Interested parties should email us at sales@k98fm.com.
I'm back in black. My co-host is Stack, and we are here back on the radio to go on the attack. Welcome back to Game On with JD and Stacey here on K98 Talk. We are part of that Conservative Commandos radio network. Everybody right now, get over to K98Talk.org, get in that chat room, join the conversation. We're going to take you up to the top of the noon o'clock hour, where after that, until we're live again Tuesday night at 9 p.m. Eastern Standard for a little more Game On, baby, you're going to get yourself over to Spreaker.com, #Brown JD and Stacey, JDANDSTACEY. Find out a catalog of everything we've been doing here with that Ricky Ticky Tavi, Rick Robinson, and that cantankerous Mr. Rick Trader over there on that 1360 WNWNWN JCAM, who was nice enough to have us come down to Radio Row while they had a little broadcast time. It was a little bit of a zoo, but we did see Uncle Louie. One person I want everybody, before we come back into the third segment, everybody out there, I know Stacey and I have mentioned him before, you need to go find him on social media or go find him on the interwebs or wherever it is you want to follow this individual. You need to go find yourself some Rob Eno of Conservative Review for two reasons. Number one,
we love us some Rob Eno.
I mean, for two reasons. Number one, from the politics side of it, he is passionate and just he's a really brilliant guy. I mean, he really is a smart guy. He's super passionate. He's right there working with Levin TV as well as Conservative Review. And honestly, I think the more important part of it is he is just one of the nicest people on the planet. ROBENO, Conservative Review. I believe he's their director of research. He's doing something with Levin TV. I don't know what his title is for that, though. You go find yourself some Rob Eno. I mean, he's just a really good guy. He's definitely become a friend of Stacey and I.
guy, and we would love to get to introduce him to the audience and get him at some point to become a friend of the show. Before we go into this is my new sound effect for the Cruz speech. Before we get into the Cruz speech, let's see highlights. Fran Tarkenton literally saying Omaha to call an audible at a crowded elevator to one of his staff. True story or not?
Yeah, and who got you in the elevator?
Oh, my brilliant and beautiful co-host, baby. Of course, that's who. Hold on, let me reset the audio bubble here. I know what I wanted to bring up. We did run into about the vibe. The vibe there was much different than Stacey and I had expected. You know, on television you see all the people with the sparkled glasses and the funny outfits. There were some people there that were like that, you know, but the
not
hall,
a lot.
The hall itself felt, I don't know, because this was my first Republican National Convention. It was a little more subdued to me than I expected that it would be, or how I pictured past conventions being. However, the first day we were on the floor, Stacey and I had gotten about to halfway, and she was live streaming either on Facebook or Twitter the speeches from the floor. And I'm like, so she was about right in the center of the room, so we'd come about halfway through. And I'm like, all right, why don't you hang out here and keep live streaming? I'm going to go all the way around to the end because I hadn't been that far over yet. And I walk over. I've got to get the video out. The Washington State delegation, the one wacky convention moment, the Washington State delegation is wearing foam green fir tree hats sticking up on their head and dancing around to like some trippy, hippie, like in the woods, Wiccan. That actually made me smile. that I got a kick out of.
Yeah. The California delegation made me want to strangle them, but
they did. I will tell you something else.
The loudest, biggest delegation in the convention who has not delivered their state for a Republican in how long? As far as I'm concerned, they should just be quiet and they should have about 3 delegates.
But they were plants, Stacey. Who were the 2 loudest delegations on the floor? The New York delegation.
California and New York.
Yeah, that's right. And who is Mayor Quimby always yelling about that he's going to change the map and all this other nonsense? Now, let's get to Ted Cruz's speech, because one of the things I have done since I've been back and I'm processing this is I've watched some of the video that I took from the floor. And to tell you the truth, it plays more exciting at the video, and like bringing myself back to the moment, I had almost a more positive feeling about it, you know, looking at it in retrospect. But I want to get to Ted Cruz's speech on the floor. And we had run into somebody that you would all know. He's always all over the news. He's all over Twitter. Very respected individual, decades of experience in Washington. And when we were going into the convention hall, we happened to stop and we were speaking with him. So Stacey and I knew at about, Stacey, about 4:30, 5 o'clock on Wednesday.
No, it was after that. It was right before we went down on the floor. We were walking in to go down on the floor.
Oh, whatever. So it'd be 7, whatever the heck time it was. You know, before the speech was given, Stacey and I knew that Ted Cruz would not be endorsing. Now, to my mind,
he'd been clear about that for weeks.
Well, I didn't expect it. It's just that we knew for sure. You know what I'm saying? Like, you don't know what these people are going to do. And the speech itself, I thought, was a good speech. And here's my problem with it. One of the things I said to Stacey in the hall, and I wasn't the only one, she heard it differently. The last paragraph of the speech that Cruz gave, the way it was delivered, sounded to me like a kneecap of the nominee. And I had said to her, there is no way that the GOP and the Trump campaign approved the last paragraph of that speech because it's bad politics and optics for everybody. Stacey's like, no, I think that they did. A couple hours later, she was absolutely right. They had. I was wrong about it. But They
well,
left
the politics of it was an eventual kneecap for Cruz.
Well, it was a kneecap for everybody, in my opinion. The GOP signed off on it and approved it with the last paragraph because they don't like Ted Cruz or Donald Trump, and this served their self-interest. Trump signed off and approved it because he feels the optics of getting Cruz booed serves his self-interest. Cruz put that speech in there to get it approved because he decided he was going to launch his 2020 campaign on the floor of the 2016 Republican National Convention. I like Ted Cruz. I respect Ted Cruz. I walked out of this losing respect for Ted Cruz because to my mind it was such an exemplification of how weak this party is. You have a vainglorious megalomaniac as a nominee who wants the optics of somebody he's already beaten a primary of getting booed. You have the GOP going, well, we got to get rid of both of these morons. This will be bad. And you have Cruz, who was not thinking about the country and was thinking about himself. And I think that night was a loser for all three.
I have a completely different perspective. Again, I heard the speech. I heard it different than you. I actually heard it as a call to people. And when you read it, I think this really comes across because, again, the speech is written before it's read. He wanted people, don't stay home. Get out, vote your conscience, up and down ticket. Okay, he was not going to say vote for Trump. Vote your conscience, up and down ticket. He was telling people who are disaffected within the Republican Party, you still need to get off your butt. You still need to go out and vote. It was a call to action for people in the GOP who are disaffected. Now, how it played in that hall was absolutely engineered, part of it by the Trump campaign, which has come out all over the press because he wasn't going to endorse. He was going to get booed in that hall.
Wait a minute.
And now you have Trump out there doing a PAC, $20 million he's going to donate of his own freaking money, a PAC to defeat Cruz in 2 years and defeat Kasich.
But wait a second.
He doesn't even know who his enemy is.
So you're telling me that my take on a speech that I heard sitting right next to you is not my take? I was the victim of engineering? No. The boos on the floor were engineered out of the New York delegation. Mm-hmm. I am smart enough to know what I heard and how I took it. That's why when I set it up, we had completely different takes on the same speech. I don't feel like I walked out of the hall as a rube because I was taken by a theatrical display. My head thought he was kneecapping him before the boos came down. So my point to this is...
I didn't take that in the entire speech.
I understand that, Stacey. You're making my point for me. So if you and I, who both are inclined to think pretty much the same way politically, both are not Trump supporters, both respect Ted Cruz, and both walked away from watching the same exact speech next to each other with different takes on how it played or what it meant, doesn't that mean that regardless of how you heard it or how I heard it, it was bad politics? Because you have two people who are inclined to agree with the message that Ted Cruz has, and we had completely different takes on the speech.
I think it was poor politics to ask him to speak. I think it was... I honestly think reading some stuff in some articles about what went on behind the scenes, Trump was trying to strong-arm him and would have figured that was a victory. Cruz held tight to his principles. I wouldn't endorse a guy who did that to my family either. Sorry.
Nobody's talking about the endorsement. We're talking about the politics of it.
I'm talking about the politics. What in the world possessed Donald Trump and Reince Priebus to sit this man down and invite him to speak at the convention?
We've already eviscerated Trump and the GOP for that. We're in agreement on that. My point is this is specific to Cruz and what he was trying to accomplish. You know, we had one of the people we were staying with came back, and she had said to us as well, as much as she heard reaction to Stacey, she also heard people that were Cruz supporters, correct, that had the same reaction that I had to the speech. So my point just goes back to it. I'm not saying who has the right or wrong interpretation of the speech. What I'm saying is if you have people who were inclined to support and respect Ted Cruz, and after that speech, there's reactions from some of those people saying, I don't think that was the time or the place, then to my mind, whatever the politics he was trying to achieve was a bad move. That's my only point to it, because it wasn't a message that everybody came out taking the same way. That was my point on the Cruz speech. I'm not saying I'm not saying who interpreted it correctly or incorrectly. It's just that I think the politics of it was a failure because we're seeing the same speech from two different points of view.
No, and I don't disagree. I thought it was a horrible move. Cruz never should have agreed to speak. The RNC and Donald Trump never should have asked him. I think what it did to me, honestly, watching that speech, watching the reaction, and watch what's played over the last 48 hours, it made absolutely clear to me as an individual that the GOP no longer wants conservatives in their party.
No, they don't. They don't.
They do not. They would rather pander to left-leaning independents and disaffected Bernie supporters who are maybe a little easier to control than people like you and me who have a strong belief in limited government.
You better hurry up. We got about 15 seconds.
Yep. A strong belief in limited government and don't just fall in line.
And I understand, I'm seeing comments in the chat room that was engineered by Trump. I understand all that. Take it from me, folks. I was in the room. You know where my politics are. I'm not a Trump supporter. I was not the only person that heard it that way. And that, to my point, is why I thought the politics of it was weak. And I think that the bigger definition of that is if the Cruz campaign really was on message and had strong politics, he would have been the nominee. But I will tell you what, you know who was the happiest man after Wednesday night in North America? Sitting in South Florida sipping on a banana daiquiri. Who? Tell me.
Bill Clinton.
No, Marco Rubio, baby. Hold on. One more audio rebuttal me set. And what used to be the fastest hour in conservative radio that just felt like 5.5 is finally wrapping up. We want to thank everybody for dealing with Stacey and I and our schedule. It feels so good to be back. I'm going to listen to this broadcast, relearn how to do radio, but I do remember this is the point where I look at my beautiful, brilliant co-host and I go, baby girl, you got those keys?
Oh, I got those keys.
Oh, my God, I don't know what just happened. Let's get out of here. Tell the nice people where they can find you.
Oh, you can always find me at this point getting the crap beat out of me on Twitter at ScottsFire, SCOTSFYRE, and on Facebook at Stacey Lennox.
And you can always find me being told why I'm wrong by the smartest, most beautiful, brilliant co-host in the planet, Miss Stacey Lennox. I took her down an alleyway. It was in daylight. Tell me that's not a true story. It was a shortcut to get to the security check. Bulletproof vest. They're taking a shot. I lived through it. Tuesday night, kids.
I'm looking for you, you Occupy freaks with your glitter bombs. Bring it on! Bring on the glitter. Everything has changed. Everything has changed in the last few years. Conservatives used to take it, and we're not taking it anymore.
If you want to work until you keel over, have less of everything in retirement, or give back more of your hard-earned money to the stock market again, then just ignore me. But if you'd like to protect the money you save, receive a steady, predictable retirement income, and enjoy financial security for as long as you live, then listen to this. You can download a free report that reveals the wealth-building secrets Wall Street and the banks don't want you to know. You'll learn how you can get guaranteed growth, safety, and real prosperity without risking your money in the Wall Street casino, and how to get the money you need when you need it, simply by asking for it. This is the best way to have a 100% secure retirement, and know your money will last as long as you do. To learn more about this method, and to get your free report, go to 29security.com. That's the number 29security.com. 29security.com. Go to 29security.com. If you want...
That's not how it works. That's not how any of this works.